Back, well, Indonesia's economic growth accelerated in the final quarter of 2021 as consumption perked up following the easing of antivirus mobility restrictions and as stronger commodity prices pushed exports to record highs. Data from Indonesia's Statistics Bureau showed on Monday that Indonesia's economy grew 5.02% annually in the fourth quarter, compared with 3.51% growth in the third previous quarter. That was roughly in line with the government's prediction. Now, for the whole of 2021, Indonesia's GDP expanded 3.69% compared with a 2.07% contraction in 2020 or the year before, as the economy recovered from the impact of the pandemic. Indonesia was hit by a deadly wave of COVID cases back in July and August 2021, but mobility curbs were eased towards the end of August as infections fell. Now, in the fourth quarter, household consumption, which accounts for over half of Indonesia's GDP, grew by 3.6%, quickening from the 1% growth in the previous 3 months. Investment and public spending also grew faster in the fourth quarter, which Statistics Indonesia head Margo Yuwono attributed to a resumption of government and private sector activities that were halted in the third quarter. Talk more about Indonesia's economic growth and the overall state of Indonesia's economy. We'll discuss more with economists from Institute for Economic and Social Research from the Faculty of Economics and Business at the University of Indonesia, Teuku Riefky. Hi, Mas Riefky. Thank you so much for joining us again on Movers and Shakers. All right, so first of all, as we saw just now, Indonesia saw economic growth of 3.69% in 2021, a significant improvement from the contraction in 2020 of 2.07%. Does that mean that Indonesia's economy is recovering well? And do you think the Indonesian economy is in a good state right now?
Well, I think Indonesia's economy is in a much better place compared to where we were in 2020. It is a combination of many factors, but in general, we are helped by good policy and good luck, in which we are seeing the much progress of National Economic Recovery Program, vaccination rate, and also some benefit from the increase of commodity prices, in which it all contributes to the strengthening of economic growth domestic in 2021.
All right, now we also know that poverty rate decreased in 2021 down to single digits. Do you think that the rate of Indonesia's economic growth, does it reflect on improved welfare among Indonesian public?
Yeah, because when we talk about the poverty progress, the pandemic has wiped out for almost 2 years of the progress in the poverty eradication. And we haven't seen the progress of the poverty eradication like before the pandemic level. So I think, yeah, when the economy starts growing again, it contributes to a more job creation, in which it also helps to reduce the poverty rate. And also, I would like to point out another indicator, such as inequality, which has been narrowing in the past few periods. It also indicates that we are seeing an improvement in the welfare more inclusively during the pandemic phase.
Indonesia's economy saw good growth of 5.02% year on year in the fourth quarter. Do you see that as Indonesia's economy bouncing back towards the end of the year? And tell us some of the factors or parts of the economy that bounce back towards the end of 2021.
Yeah, I think we are seeing the economic condition that is much closer to the pre-pandemic level. It should be noted that our slower growth in the third quarter of 2021 is mainly due to the Delta variant of wave. So after passing the Delta variant, we are seeing the domestic demand improve. Also on the back of the increasing public mobility alongside with the decline of the COVID-19 cases. So the further relaxation of restriction and also the ongoing national economic recovery program by the government might help to redirect our economic growth to its long-term trajectory. So I think we are in a really good place right now, despite seeing another wave of Omicron. But I think it's all very evenly spread between household consumption and investment, which all is rebounding in the last quarter of 2021.
All right, so government policy, you're saying, also had a hand in this. Their economic recovery program, in your opinion, had a significant impact. Now, I also want to talk to you about the manufacturing sector in Indonesia. The manufacturing PMI was once again expansive in January, continuing a positive trend in PMI manufacturing since September. So do you think that Indonesia's manufacturing sector is doing well right now, even despite pressures such as inflation, higher prices for raw materials, and so forth? Just talk to us a bit about that.
Okay, yeah, I think we are seeing a robust growth of the manufacturing sector, in which it's a very good news because when we look about our economic profile, the manufacturing sector is the most significant sector in our economy. So the growth of manufacturing sector in a robust trend surely is a good news, and I think it's also reflected from another data in which we are seeing the increase in our import, which indicates a longer positive outlook of manufacturing sector because our import is mostly raw materials and capital goods. So increase in import usually increase in the production capacity by the manufacturing sector. And also we are seeing some pressures toward our economy, such as the risk of inflation and also the increase of the commodity prices and energy prices. But I don't think that would poses a significant challenge to our manufacturing sector. First, the inflation is still benign. When we are seeing the domestic inflation, and I don't see any indications that we are heading towards an overheating inflation in 2022. And also regarding the energy prices, it should be an issue, but I think it would be temporary as the energy prices is gradually going back to its normal state. So I think we are seeing a very positive, very optimistic outlook regarding our manufacturing sector in the next few periods.
Right. So I just want to go back on your comment on inflation, as you're saying you're not expecting inflation to run too hot in Indonesia in 2022. But maybe can you just explain to our viewers, why is it that Indonesia's inflation is still at a controllable level, but if you see countries like the US, where they saw record high inflation for many months in a row, the UK also saw high inflation. So why is it that Indonesia is able to maintain lower inflation compared to countries like the US, the UK, and so forth?
I think it's a combination of many factors at play. But for one thing, it also been contributed by the size of fiscal stimulus. Comparatively, we are injecting stimulus much less compared to the advanced economies such as in the US and the UK. And what we are seeing in the US and the UK is the increase of income for household in their labor. So it hampers the labor sector in the US to actually go back to their job. And the shortage of the labor would drives up the prices in the US. But in Indonesia, we didn't have a massive stimulus compared to what they had in the advanced economy. So that's why we don't see much of a money chasing too few goods. So that's why we don't have much of the inflation problem. And the second factor is that the reopening in the in the advanced economy is more sudden compared to reopening in Indonesia. We have seen the opening of the economy in mid 2020, and after that we went back into a social restriction. So that makes the pent-up demand burst slowly instead of suddenly. So it gives time for our supply sector to actually catch up with the demand. So we don't have the lack of demand and supply mismatch in Indonesia. So I think that's what drives up the inflation in advanced economy, but not in Indonesia.
All right, so there is a difference, say, in the policies of stimulus. The US has more stimulus for its public compared to Indonesia and so forth. But something that is quite similar in many countries around the world is, of course, the rise in COVID cases, the Omicron variant. Now, Indonesia is currently seeing a sharp increase in COVID cases. Are you worried that this will impact the economic welfare of the Indonesian public in maybe the few weeks to come or months to come?
Yeah, I think in the next few weeks or few months to come, it is very critical to our domestic condition, not only on the economic front, but more importantly on the health front, in which if we fail to manage the spread of the pandemic or the Omicron variant under control, we are about to see another hiccups in our GDP growth. Similar to what we've seen in the third quarter of 2021. So I think there is not much of something new that we are facing right now in a broader sense, in which if we fail to contain this, we are going to see a slower growth. And if we are able to actually manage it in a proper manner, we might see the decline could be minimized, and we are still on our long-term momentum to have a pre-pandemic level of domestic growth.
Okay, now previously you were praising the government's economic recovery program, although they only spent about 88% of their budget last year, but you said it had a significant impact. Also, our vaccination rate is quite good, but is there anything else that you think the Indonesian government should be doing more to kind of stop the spread, the spread in cases? And for example, what else can they do with the funds that they have to help, the health sector in Indonesia?
Yeah, I think we need to see more of the response in the health sector in a more responsive manner instead of a reactive manner, in which after a few wave of COVID variants, we are still seeing the same problem in the health aspect, such as the lack of testing and tracing number, and the over capacity of bed in the hospital. And this problem has become too repetitive. And we don't want to see that every time we see another wave of COVID-19 that we are seeing the overcapacity of health infrastructure. So I think it's one factor that government should take more seriously in the coming months and years, because we don't know how much uncertainty that the COVID will bring, and we have to solve these very fundamental issues, because like the lockdown and the other measures to restrict social mobility, it works, but we need something better than that, something more structural than just being reactive for every wave that we are about to have.
Of course. Well, of course, all of us are hoping for the best for this wave of new cases, and hopefully Indonesia's economy will grow even further in 2022. Teuku Riefky, economist from the University of Indonesia, thank you so much for giving us your